Oh, man, Sarah Palin, she so nailed it this weekend at Searchlight as Harry Reid was taking care of his wife with a broken neck and facial injuries from the terrible accident. The Tea Partiers went out to his hometown to tell America that they love the Constitution so much that, as Sarah Palin said, we don't need a president who is a constitutional... Well, actually, here's the clip.
Our vision for America is anchored in time-tested truths, that the government that governs least governs best, that the Constitution provides the path to a more perfect union. It's the Constitution.
Yeah, that general welfare clause.
By the way, it's within our own borders in the homeland where we should feel so safe and not condone any kind of violence. It's within the homeland that we should feel safe, and that makes me want to say, in these volatile times when we are a nation at war now more than ever, is when we need a commander-in-chief, not a constitutional law professor lecturing us from a lectern.
Right. We love the Constitution. The Constitution is the most important thing. The Constitution has all the answers, but we don't need anybody who's an expert on the Constitution being our president. That would be a disaster. Yeah. Meanwhile, part of some members of the Michigan militia, those of you who listen to this program for years know that when I was a teenager, I knew some guys in the Michigan militia, and in fact, sometimes I wonder. I go back to Michigan, and my brother Steve has in his back. He lives way out in the middle of nowhere on a river near Grand Rapids. And he and Thom have in their backyard a shooting range. And so we go to one of the biggest ammunition and gun stores in the entire state to buy our ammo. And I've had a few conversations with these guys, and I would bet money that at least a few of the guys working there, at least the guy that told me that Obama was going to take away our guns, he was going to take away our ammunition, that all this just basically said everything except, what's a black man doing in the White House, and that was the subtext to everything else he was saying. Was, I would bet money this guy's in one of the Michigan militias, or at least, if not him, several of those guys, actually. But apparently this subgroup of the Michigan militia, the Christian militia, Hutteree, Hutaree. So I don't know these guys. Maybe I do, and I just don't know that I do. But they have arrested a bunch of these guys. 9 members of the Christian militia group Hutteree have been indicted on multiple charges involving an alleged plot to attack police, including seditious conspiracy and attempted use of weapons of mass destruction. Yes, they were putting together IEDs. They were going to kill a cop. And then at the funeral for that police officer, they were going to kill more cops with IEDs. And these people think that they are patriots. The attack, in fact, the report over by Justin Elliott over at Think Progress. The attack, in turn, would spark a more widespread Harper Ferry-style uprising against the government, according to the general concept of operations described in the indictment. This is 2 things. The Harper's Ferry, of course, the uprising from the 1700s, but this really, in my mind, evokes the Turner Diaries, the book that was Ted McVeigh's Bible. The Turner Diaries, a novel that was written back in the 60s or 70s, in which a guy blows up a federal building in the Midwest, maybe even Oklahoma City. It's been years since I read it. And he blows up this federal building, and the government then responds with this massive crackdown on the militia movement, starts going door to door, taking people's guns away. And so all the good white Protestant Christians stand up, take their guns and start killing black people, start killing Jews, start killing Hispanics, and start killing anybody who works for the government. Now, what's also interesting is that these guys also thought that they were fighting against the Antichrist. That's right, the Antichrist. The Antichrist, of course, being the guy who is president. Should all Tea Partiers be required to sign the pledge? You know how during the Reagan administration, the Grover Norquist and his buddies came up with the pledge? I will not raise taxes. And every politician had to sign the pledge. I think we need to start showing up at Tea Party rallies with signs that say say no to socialism. Don't take Social Security money. Say no to socialism. Don't take Medicare money. Or no to socialism. Eliminate Social Security. Because that's the agenda these guys are working toward, and they don't realize it. I mean, it's just incredible. There was an article in the New York Times over the weekend that titled, "With No Jobs, Plenty of Time for Tea Party." When Thom Grimes, this is Kate Zernicki wrote this. When Thom Grimes lost his job as a financial consultant 15 months ago, he called his congressman a Democrat for help getting health care. Then he found a new time occupation, Tea Party activist. Mr. Grimes, who receives Social Security, has filled the back seat of his Mercury Grand Marquis with literature of the movement, including Glenn Beck's Arguing with Idiots and Frederick Bastiat's The Law, which denounces public benefits as false philanthropy. Said Mr. Grimes, keep in mind who receives Social Security, if you quit giving people that stuff, they'd figure out how to do it on their own. All right. Here's another one. Diane Reamer, 67. She's getting Social Security and Medicare. She's become a star in an effort by Freedom Works, the Tea Party group. Now, they don't know that Freedom Works is a front group funded by Dick Armey, or run by Dick Armey, funded by big lobbying companies and billionaires and foundations controlled by billionaires to fight the healthcare overhaul. She liked that the Tea Party was patriotic, too. She said they sang the pledge. They said the Pledge of Allegiance and sang the national anthem, she said. She's now a national coordinator for Tea Party patriots. She also found community. She often wells up talking about her work. I'm respected, she said, her voice breaking. I don't know why. I don't know what's so special, but I'm willing to do it. Okay, so here's the pledge. All Tea Partiers should be required to sign. Loki wrote this over at cincyvoices.com. I will abstain from the use of and participation in any socialist goods and services, including but not limited to the following. Now, we should show up with a clipboard and say, will you sign this? I will abstain from the use of Social Security, Medicare, state children's health insurance programs, police, fire, and emergency services, the socialist post office, the socialist roads and highways, the socialist air traffic system regulated by the socialist FAA, the socialist U.S. railway system, the socialist public subways and metro systems, the socialist public bus and light rail systems, the socialist rest areas on highways, the socialist sidewalks, the socialist government-funded local state projects, the socialist public water and sewer systems, the socialist public and state universities and colleges, the socialist primary and secondary schools, the socialist program Sesame Street, my children will never watch it again, the socialist public museums, the socialist libraries, the socialist public parks and beaches, the socialist state and national parks, the socialist public zoos, the socialist unemployment insurance. No more!